There's my contact information, briefly but gone. T at Stone Age Technologies or TM Freisinger on Twitter. Thank you very much.
You're going down the stairs.
Down the stairs.
Small things bring me joy because I do not understand what he talked about. But I want to, and I'm trying. Like right before his talk, we were talking about Evil. Does anybody watch the show Evil? Okay, one guy. Thank you. They were doing something about, like, it's a virtual reality. I don't know. It was the goggles where you see crap. See, I don't even know what it's called. What is that called? Travis? Augmented reality. Several of you said that, but I only heard him. Yeah, I don't understand that. That scares the hell out of me. What? If you want me to hear you and you say something, you should be prepared for me to ask what you said. Bless you, by the way. Yeah. All right, so Mel. Mel is a delightful friend of mine, and she said she was going to come here dressed like a miner. She didn't. She looks hot as hell. That's fine. I mean, I guess there could be sexy miners. There could be. It's fair. All right. Mel is a sexy miner. On the subject of costumes, she's had the great fortune to wear some amazing costumes, including the Cat in the Hat with a full shoulder rigging to extend the neck, and a full Victorian gown and hat. Side note, she used to do shots of olive oil and vinegar for fun. That's her laughing about it. But really, she did that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, one of my most beautiful friends who took me to Lizzo last week, BT Dubs. I got a shirt. Anyway, yes, please, large round of applause for Mel.
I want to quantify that is minor like a prospector and not minor like, can I please get 2 tickets for this R-rated movie? Now, if you're a Colorado native, like my dog, you might have heard this story before. Even if you've lived here for a while, you've probably driven by or maybe even climbed Mount Silverheels in Alma. This 13er is the 29th highest peak in Colorado and the 55th highest peak in the U.S. Nestled right between Alma and Blue River on your way to Breckenridge, it once hosted a settlement by the name of Buckskin Joe. Now, Buckskin Joe is now a ghost town, but in the mid-19th century, it boasted a very active mining town. Originally settled by non-Indigenous people in 1858, it was formally organized into a town in 1860 when it was named Lorette, after the only 2 women originally in the settlement, Laura and Jeanette Dodge. It became more popularly known after the very cool miner/trapper/man-about town, Joseph Higginbottom, better known as Buckskin Joe. Joe was supposedly the first man who found gold in them there hills. By 1861, Joe's namesake boasted about 2,000 residents. Now, despite being a smallish town by our standards, Buckskin Joe still had several gambling and dance halls. Okay, if you're a naive, young East Coast girl who hasn't watched Westworld yet, you might have assumed that dance halls are just places that a miner could unwind and have a beer and enjoy a player piano and maybe watch some Americanized can-can dancing. Now older and wiser and 2 seasons into Westworld, we all know that the can-can was scandalous, not because of the display of ankles, but because the slit and bloomers showed all the way up to their can-cans when they did some kicks. And also dance hall girls were sex workers. Now, one such dance hall girl went by the name of Silverheels for her snappy dancing shoes. Some say her name was Josie Dillon. Some say her name was Gerda Bechdel. But the important thing is, no one bothered to find out for sure. Some sources also say that she wore a white or a blue mask, so your girl really wanted to remain anonymous. She lived in a small cabin at the base of the mountain, and she spent her nights dancing and maybe, that's far ahead, dancing and providing sexual services in a profession entirely of her own choosing. Maybe she spent her days with her boyfriend or studying for the medical exam and counting her gold nuggets. We don't know because she was completely anonymous. In the winter of 1961, smallpox struck Buckskin Joe. Smallpox is literally and figuratively not pretty. Caused by a virus that kicks things off with a fever and vomiting and finishes things out with explosive lesions that primarily affect the skin and mucous membranes. Smallpox's malignant and hemorrhaging versions have about a 30% mortality rate. So all the women and children of Buckskin Joe pieced right out of there, but the miners were like, hell no, am I leaving all my gold with these shifty miners? And Silverheels stayed too, whether to nurse her lover or to take care of her friends. But she went from house to house, caring for the sick and burying the dead. Either way, she saved about 1,000 people from smallpox. When the winter of 1961 ended and the spring of 1962 began, the miners wanted to thank her for all her help, and they raised about $4,600, which in today's money is about $131,000 or a small down payment on a house in Wash Park. But Silverheels was nowhere to be found. She had left, no stagecoach had left town, and no one could find her. All they could do was to name the mountain after her nickname. And today, legend says if you visit the cemetery in Buckskin Joe, you'll hear a voice whisper softly on the wind, the study that said vaccinations cause autism was disproven.
Did everybody notice her shoes, by the way? Okay, just checking. I'm yelling now. And there's a microphone right here. Vaccinate your children and yourself. I haven't gotten my flu shot yet. I have no excuse.